when I went to my first ever therapy appointment, I was terrified. Not of the therapy itself, but of what people would think of me if they found out I was going. I didn't end up going back. This is an experience that is all too common in people with mental illnesses. There is such a stigma around mental illnesses and therapy that many people who need help never end up getting it. That is why I am here today, to help beat these stigmas. So, today I'm going to be talking about what therapy really is, the stigma surrounding therapy and mental illnesses, and what we can all do to help beat these stigmas. First, let's talk about what therapy really is. Its official name is psychotherapy, although we more often shorten it to just therapy or call it counseling. Therapy is supposed to help resolve problematic behaviors and beliefs or to help cope with a mental illness like depression or PTSD. It can also help in coping with everyday situations like a change in a job or a stress in a relationship. According to the American Psychiatric Association, 70% of individuals who attend therapy show improvements and benefit from it. Some of these improvements include better physical health, increased satisfaction with oneself, and better lifestyle habits. However, according to the National Alliance on Mental Illnesses, more than 75% of individuals who need professional help never end up getting it. There are some misconceptions about what therapy is like that prevent these people from getting the help they need. The most common misconception is that therapy is for crazy or weak people. In fact, people with mental illnesses are the exact opposite. They are just strong enough and brave enough to realize that they need help and actually seek it. Another common misconception is that talking to your friends or family can substitute therapy. Well, having a good support system is very, very important. And talking to your friends about your struggles can be therapeutic. Your friends and family members are not professionally trained to help you deal with the complex struggles of your life. The last misconception I'm going to talk about is that you have to be diagnosed with a mental illness to go to therapy. While people with mental illnesses are far more likely to seek therapy, one does not need a mental illness to seek therapy. All one needs is to want help in dealing with their stresses and emotions. Next, let's talk about the stigmas surrounding therapy and mental illnesses. There are two stigmas that surround therapy and a whole other stigma that surrounds mental illnesses in general, and all of these are tightly intertwined. According to an article written by David L. Vogel and Nathaniel G. Wade, the two stigmas that surround therapy are the public stigma and the self-stigma. The public stigma is how a society views and treats a person with a mental illness. The public stigma may affect a person's decision to go seek therapy, but not always. The self-stigma is even more concerning. Self-stigma is when a person needs professional help, but views seeking that help as detrimental to their self-worth. The stigma around mental illnesses is what both of these previous stigmas stem from. And that stigma stems from a medieval belief that people with mental illnesses had demons inside of them that needed to be let out. According to the Baton Rouge Behavioral Hospital, they would drill holes into these people's skulls to let those demons out. It all has also come from a modern media portrayal of people with mental illnesses. In media, people with mental illnesses are portrayed as dangerous and aggressive, and if not that, childlike and immature. In recent years, people with mental illnesses have even been romanticized. Shows like 13 Reasons Why depict mental illnesses as not being as bad as they truly are. Having a mental illness like depression and anxiety can be debilitating, and shows like that do not show that side of the mental illness. Many horror movies are also guilty of things like this. They pick disorders like schizophrenia or dissociative identity disorder in a very negative light. This places a fear in the public's mind of people with these disorders. People who struggle with schizophrenia or dissociative identity disorder have trouble finding jobs, or even a therapist who is willing to treat them. This media portrayal and previous historical beliefs have painted a picture in our minds of what these people are like, and that picture is grossly inaccurate. And finally, let's talk about what we can all do to help beat these stigmas. I am here talking to you today because I want to help beat these stigmas for myself and for others. We need to be more open to talking about mental illnesses and therapy. Now, you do not need to get up in front of people like I am. But even in casual conversation, if someone says something negative about mental illnesses or therapy, do not be afraid to stand up to them and educate them about what they're saying and how it affects people who would like to seek therapy. We also need to watch our everyday language. Calling things crazy or psycho puts a very negative connotation around mental illnesses. We also need to watch the way we refer to ourselves. For example, I always say that I have depression and an anxiety disorder. This separates me from my mental illnesses because they are a part of me, but they are not me. This also applies to people without mental illnesses. Saying things like, oh, I'm just so OCD, or my ADHD is kicking in, invalidates the struggles and problems of people who actually have these disorders. It is very highly recommended that you be diagnosed with the mental illness before claiming that you have that mental illness. There is also a term that everyone should avoid altogether, and that is the R slur. This is a term that used to be a medical term, but in recent years has been used against people with intellectual impairments to put them down and invalidate their struggles with their disability. Anything that we can do to help the people who would like to seek help will be enough. Today I've talked about what therapy really is, the stigma surrounding therapy and mental illnesses, and what we can all do to help beat these stigmas. I recently started going to therapy again, and it has been the best decision of my entire life. I am now able to support others with mental illnesses and have been able to surround myself with people who support me. Please do not ever let a stigma get in the way of you getting the help you need. Thank you.